mozzarella. It's gonna be so delicious.
I have no words except for welcome back to Town Hall, and I apologize for that cheese and mozzarella tongue lapping song that just happened. We are back here with the second half of episode number 60 of
Jake,
Town Hall.
If you ever watched Anchorman, he has to do warm-up exercises.
Oh.
So that he can... This is just a few of the things, just like backstage.
The Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
Bank loan.
This is what we do when we're all away on commercial. So
Right.
we start singing.
Antics.
I just bark wildly.
Yeah.
It's actually insane. Like,
Baxter,
Just-
you know I don't.
oh, oh,
Okay. On topic, boys.
we go. We can do this.
1 hour, 1 hour left. We got that was phenomenal, Matt. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. It was a pleasure and a privilege. I just want to just quickly say this now that he's off the show. He's one of the very first Blizzard employees to like contact us and be like, "Yo, I love your show." It's like it's great. We met him up at BlizzCon and he was like, nobody knew who we were at BlizzCon, and Matt was like ecstatic to like, just chat with us about the game, and that was really cool. So it was really cool to finally have him on because we've been wanting to get him on the show for quite a while, and finally
Hey,
have
Corey.
a good opportunity.
nice green screen, Corey.
Thanks.
When'd you get
Oh,
that?
thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Kevin,
gosh.
nobody was talking to you.
Yeah, Kevin, what happened to your hair?
Oh God! All right, I will fix that, and you guys will start talking about Heroes of the Dorm. Go.
Heroes of
So,
the Dorm?
so easy. Berkeley's, we've all predicted it's gonna win.
Yep.
And I have kind of these insider feelings as to why, because maybe some team named Tempestorm and Vortex have been scrimming against them and stuff, and they looked really good. Except for game 2. That game was actually really bad, but
It was weird. Yeah, it was a weird game. So, who watched it?
no, that was Titan Arena, bro.
Oh, I see.
What?
Ooh, wrecked.
I had to watch my team, man.
I saw some of both.
I saw game 2 of Berkeley because we had a break then. And that was like a 40-minute Garden or Cursed game? I think it was on Cursed. It was like 40 minutes on Cursed where Kawhi Rice's team,
Washington.
they drafted a tankless comp with Asmodan.
Yeah, three specialists. They had,
I remember that.
That was
I remember
so
hearing about that. That game
weird,
was tight.
man.
That was probably the best game that
yeah.
I
It
saw.
was the best game of the tournament. So
That
far.
was cool, and I was told that it was like an anti-Odin comp, and they had did they have a bunch of Envenoms,
They had
people
Uther.
Blood for Bloods.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Illiter would
recall.
go in and die immediately every time. He
Yeah.
would go in and he would just get destroyed.
They wouldn't be able to do anything after the fight, but it was really
Yeah,
hard
and
to
if anyone got caught out of position, it was like good luck. Especially like if Asmodan was too far forward, it's like nope, not going to work out. But it was very interesting composition. It was something that I wasn't expecting to see. Something that was, I guess, no offense, but not so fleshed out. Perhaps it's like where it's like specific, like we researched our opponents, but it's getting to that point now where we're in the heavy parts of the bracket where you need to do your research. You
Yep.
need to really put your homework in or put your time in, do your homework, and because the prize is big, So it's cool to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point though, I don't know too much about the other teams, but that match right there, Kawhi's team versus Fan's team, was the match. That was like the two teams that were arguably like predicted to win.
Arizona's up there too. Arizona has a lot of talented guys. They're pretty good. And I just want to say that obviously I'm working the event, so I'm watching all the matches like glued to it. But it's quite interesting to see that how defined like of the compositions that exist in these teams. Like if you look at Boston College is running ETC Tyrael as often as possible, and their execution is very clean, but it seems to be like their crutch, right? They seem to really like to lean on that style. Arizona uses a lot of force wall, but they make big plays with it. It's really weird, but they're using a ton of force wall. So there's a lot of things that are out of the meta from what we are used to seeing. And yes, this is in a lot of ways a different caliber of player because they're playing in a controlled environment where they're not playing against Tempestorm, they're not playing against Maelstrom, but they're playing against people that are at a relatively even skill level with each other, and they're doing things that are different that look very good in those environments, which is exciting. It's almost like no, EU has its own meta.
Well, it's also
China has
different
its own
because of the
meta.
no bans.
I was about to say that too. You got to factor that in as
It's-
well. It's
okay.
not as easy to,
No
to
bans
try
are
to
huge.
deny those types of strategies. Like, well, they really rely on Tyrael, but we really hate playing Tyrael, so we don't really have an option to deal with this per se, unless we really want to, put our team under a deficit by taking a hero we really don't like to play. Whereas in the competitive scene, you have the option to ban that hero out.
And not even just playing against like a certain hero, but when you're in a best of 3 or a best of 5, and you've realized that your enemy team really utilizes something, like look at Cloud9 Maelstrom's drafting against
Anyone?
Tempo Storm. Diablo banned every single game against them. Hated Glaurung's Diablo, or just Tempo with Diablo in general. You have a team that you're going against without a ban. God, that's going to be so difficult to deal with. Like, you can't get rid of their best hero.
Yeah.
Or a hero they work the best with.
It's not just that. It's you also can't get rid of a hero that you're aiming for a certain comp, but this one hero can counter it. Like there's a lot of blow up style compositions that Zeratul can kind of just void prison and kind of negate a lot of it. So when you're aiming to run blow up, you see a lot of Zeratul bans, and you can't do that kind of stuff as well.
So are we all expecting Cal to win this? Is that the?
I am. Yeah.
I mean,
Cal Burke.
Fan is on 5th or 6th best team in NA, 5th best team in NA, and they're scrimming every single night against top teams. I mean, it'd be hard for them to not win.
I would be shocked if they didn't win. And I think Arizona has a chance.
Yeah.
But
that is some of the members of Rising Taquitos.
Like, yeah, I think.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
There are
Like 2 or 3.
Yeah, 2 or 3 of the members are on Rising Taquitos. Mystax was on Kansas State, I think.
Yeah.
So they have some of the players that are prevalent in the pro scene.
Okay.
Or other way around, I should say.
But you have to look at Cal Berkeley as the leaders for various reasons. Fan on Vortex, yeah, that's huge. Soppy, he's a professional StarCraft player, and then they have Panda Jigu, and not all of that is impressive as it is, but they won CSL for StarCraft. So they're already they've already proved themselves as like the best school in a different collegiate league for a different game. And they already have one player who's like a super specialist Fan who's playing at the very top. So they have by far every advantage they could hope for.
My bracket is destroyed. I had Washington going to win. So
What?
You win against Cal Berkeley.
I did.
You're a dumb man.
What?
I didn't know Fan was on the team. I thought it was just Suppy. So I thought it was Kawhi Rice versus Suppy, basically, and I was like, well, at least Kawhi has like some experience on a pro team, so I didn't know that Fan was there. So I was like, oh, okay, rip my bracket.
yeah, they're stacked. They look good.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even know Fan was on that team. I went because Suppy's decision making in StarCraft 2 was one of, I think, the better ones in the NA. I always liked Suppy's. Like his micro was pretty good, but I always liked Suppy's decision making.
Well, when you hear about a bunch of teams that you don't know anybody on, and then you hear Suppy, it's like, okay, congrats.
That's true. Well, yeah, but if they had crap numbers, then I'd be like, I'm not going for them.
Yeah. Well,
but when I saw they had good numbers plus Suppy's on there, I was like, okay, definitely.
I gotta say though, Kawhi, we knew him as a support player. He was primarily fulfilling the tank role. He played a lot of ETC. I assume because he was shot calling. I was really impressed with Washington. They looked really good.
So that is the update for Heroes of the Dorm. We get to, of course, watch the finals this Sunday. I'm going to assume same start time, 2 p.m. Eastern.
I guess the final thing to talk about is the new casters.
Oh, this is true. Good point. Which is
they're bringing in the big boys. It's the big guns. Day 9 and Tastosis. I mean, plus Grubby, who's already been on there. I guess Day 9 was on there this past weekend.
Yeah, Day 9 Tastosis. Wasn't a big fan of the host pick, honestly. That's
Michelle.
not to be like fangirling over Anna Prosser, but we already have Anna Prosser, who's like a huge host. I thought they were going to bring her back.
This is TV though. They went for people that have the experience, and Anna Prosser's got experience. Not as much. Not anywhere near as much.
She's been on national.
As far as I know, the whatever her name is, it's on
Michelle Morrow.
Yes, she's got a load of experience. I mean, they're bringing in Tastosis, they're bringing in Day 9, they went for the big guns.
The big guns.
So, I don't know.
Should be
It's going to
exciting.
be fun to see them cast. I was actually rather impressed with Day 9. I thought he was very fun to listen to, and his knowledge was better than I thought it would be. Definitely not someone that's streaming and casting the game all the time. That's for sure. But he did a good job last weekend.
Yeah, he's very brilliant at being a just commentator slash host.
Yeah.
His transitions are flawless. He's very entertaining.
Even if he's saying the wrong thing, he sounds so right.
Yeah, like there was times where like he would say like normally I would get annoyed if like a caster was like, oh, this is say this thing, but the way he just delivers his
Yeah,
lines
his
and stuff, and
delivery is-
how he flows through just a conversation with his co-casters, he's one of the best. So
Fact. Okay. All right. Moving on. Here's the dorm. Meta update time.
Oh, come on. That's like, what a topic.
It's a
Cover
lot.
all of the meta updates. I'm sorry. The meta just like actually just flipped itself on its head.
Murky and Noob Rack we saw the other night. We've seen a
Yeah.
lot of we've seen Murky played in 3 games. Murky has won 3 games.
Yeah.
Between-
Is that? Yeah, I think that is true. Yeah.
He's pulled into these situations, and I don't want to like step on these teams, but he's pulled into situations where the first games were stomps.
Yeah.
oh, you mean Murky beat bad teams? Go figure.
That's what I mean. Well, not bad teams, but I meant the first game.
That's what he
was-
said. That's what he said.
I know, like, I've seen Maelstrom win twice with Murky now against no names, and Vortex did it once as well, I believe.
I haven't seen. I don't think. Well, we haven't casted all of the games that they've played, so maybe it's happened, and we're not privy to that information yet. But so you guys are under the assumption. I'm going to lump both of you guys together, Kev
Yeah.
and Jared, that these are only going to work against teams with large
No.
skill disparity, and the teams that were beat were scrub teams. Is that what you're
No.
I
saying?
will say the data points say, since it wasn't pulled out during Titan Arena when there was a best of 5, it wasn't like some sort of hidden strat that they wanted to bust out and be like, yo, look, Murky out of nowhere. And if it's not when it's even paired teams, I haven't seen an even paired team, even against 2 Arc when they lost 1 game, Cloud9 didn't burst out Murky once.
Yeah. No, it's too early to say that Murky is like a troll, like, use it versus bad teams, but until we see it, like, I don't know. I've never been super impressed by it. We've seen it.
Jared,
I've seen it
who
personally
are
a few
you?
times.
Who are you?
I know, right? I know. We've
Well,
we
see,
played it in
Jared
scrims and stuff, but
Jared doesn't go full Jake and say, oh, well, just because I like this hero doesn't means they're going to be good in the meta.
true.
Rip. On blast.
Jared, how can
Come
you,
now,
how
come
can you
play
look at this
kids.
face?
I love him. I mean, we've ran him. We've had him run against us in scrims and stuff. He's not bad. It's just look at every good look at the damage dealers we have in the game right now. There are so many of them, and like right now, Murky's like used for that, and like in a very similar way as Tyrande / Tyrael. He's used to set up that big burst. Except it's a longer cooldown plus the pufferfish. But cleanse counteracts that really easily. You cleanse it, they get out of it. So you usually have to go for the person that's getting that has the cleanse, and sometimes they'll pre-cleanse themselves.
Sometimes you got a last pick Murky to make when they don't have that. Yeah.
And you got a last pick it, so like it's not that he's bad. It's just that there's better heroes that fill his role.
Yeah. Hey, at least he has a place, right? Kind of.
He's better than before, which is awesome.
He is. He is.
All right.
Squeaking around.
Something else we have seen starting to leak into the meta a little bit is the Illidan plus Abathur no tank composition. Thoughts?
Old school 2 arc.
Yeah, kind of.
They definitely did that.
They
back-
did. They ran
With
that.
Tassadar and-
So there were a couple other teams that ran that as well.
And really used when there's a Uther that gets picked up, too.
Well,
Are
yeah,
they
Divine
running that?
Shield
Yeah,
definitely
Divine Shield-
complements
Divine
it
Shield fits into it, yep.
significantly.
I've for the most part, I think it's got like a high correlation to they get Abathur, Illidan, and an Uther in there as well.
Yeah, Uther
Yeah.
is a big.
I think it's like the trilogy. I don't
It's
think
still
with just the
trilogy.
two of them.
It's still replacing a tank and allowing you to have ridiculous.
Oh
damage
yeah,
output.
yeah. No, I just want to say like I think like the two of them are okay, but I think the three of them makes it so you can avoid having the warrior.
I don't think you can do it without Uther or Rhaegar. I think you kind of have to have one or the other. But it's cool, and I'm glad we're seeing it because I just love. I almost wish it would work with Thrall. That's like my dream. Like I love seeing it with Illidan, right? But I want Thrall to be like this guy who can be in the front and be super tanky too, because he has that trait that's supposed to heal him, but it just never works out for him. Thrall is just so. We saw him played, right? And it was just like, oh wow, we're seeing Thrall last pick. This was last night. Oh my god, did he just get shredded? You don't even remember that game, Corey. You're like, what are you talking about? When you see Thrall?
I remember. I think we were theory crafting that Kerrigan would fit into that spot, and then I was like, oh, Thrall, okay, that's a thing. And I'm trying to remember what the composition they were up against.
There was an ETC that just kept dashing forward, knocking him back, and then he would die. That's all I remember.
Yeah,
Every
he would like
single
land.
time,
He would land sunderings in fights and then die
yeah,
immediately.
ETC would
afterwards.
just be on his face and he would
Yeah.
be dead, like every single fight. So makes me sad. I was a huge fan of Thrall in the initial iteration, and he is still sitting at level 9. He was so close to 10, but I haven't touched him.
Were they running it with? Yeah, they were running it with Diablo, I think. Because
They
it was,
were.
It was a follow up to.
Okay.
We're sort of theory crafting like what's going to be like the lockdown role to fill in, and we were like, okay, maybe Kerrigan or something to that effect, and then it ended up being Thrall. But cool. Hopefully, we see more of that.
I like experimentation.
Yes, we're seeing more of that. I am very happy to see that. Whether, I mean, if it needs to happen in these large player or team matchup disparities, and that's how we see some experimentation, and maybe cool plays or compositions are discovered this way, and it's like teams aren't confident to run it unless they know that they're going to have that edge because they're the better team, and then it starts being used more and more in the meta when the skill gaps are even. If that's how that's got to happen, I'm for that. That's cool.
First pick, first ban Vikings. Zoya, go for it.
Oh yeah.
Vikings are
Godlike.
broken. They are insane. People are starting to get really good at the 3-lane soak.
Yes, I Dream in particular he's quite good at this. I agree.
And it's just insane. The leads you can get with it, and what you can do with it, like just strategically, and play. Like once people have figured that out, it's just like they can do things. People are starting to figure out ways to counteract it, but they're insane. Like it's been in the meta for like 2 weeks now in EU, where Vikings have been first pick, first ban, and it's starting to hit NA hard.
Yeah.
Like, they're good. They're really, really good.
They're actually beyond good, honestly. When we saw that game this week, or just Tuesday, and I'm going to keep referencing yesterday because I've been doing Heroes of the Dorm stuff so much for the last 2 weeks, so I'm a little bit out of the loop, I'll be honest. iDream was constantly soaking bottom and mid successfully, while they did a 4-man push in the top.
Yeah.
And before the 3-minute marker, there were more than 3 towers down in that game. Just because Cloud9 could get so aggressive with the rest of the team. It was so dominant and convincing, it was scary.
Yeah, they even had a 3-person rotation to that top lane, and they weren't able to hold them off.
Right.
Yeah, there are ways to like counteract it and stuff and prepare. As if you like, there are ways to draft around Vikings, but they are very good. They are very good.
It's not even their 3-lane soak we were noticing, is that also as soon as you get into a team fight, Vikings can just dive to the back line, because if anybody turns around to deal with Vikings, they turn to a boat.
Yeah.
So we were watching them just run to the back line, even jump into the back line, hit a whole bunch. They got their jump, at least half cooldown, do a whole bunch of damage to the back line. As soon as anybody turned around to start dealing with them, they were a boat. As soon as they were a boat, the rest of the team turned around and all that.
Yep.
It was really, really difficult for anybody to like actually get anything. So it was like, at least for most of Titan Arena, for 2-arc C9M, and then Tempo versus C9M, it was all just Viking bans, Diablo bans.
Yeah, and then even if you have them in the backline too, they're getting auto attacks in, which is reducing their cooldowns, which makes them even more of a threat. And
Exactly.
They
Patience
can
is
get more
virtue, bro.
escapes, and it's
Yeah.
Yo,
That
spins.
talent's really good. And spin to win.
Spin to win, boys.
That's a ton of damage. Yeah, they're
Vikings are
very good.
pretty
it's
good,
cool to
so-
see. I mean, we knew this was going to happen, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
we
we all
saw
did.
we saw them release.
Even
We're like, okay,
Blizzard-
they're good. No one's playing them right now. But give it time. Give it time.
Blizzard knew it was gonna
Yeah.
Now is that time.
We all agreed on that. Yeah.
So
They're
we know
not easy.
Jaina's a top dog in terms of the damage.
Seeing more
dealers.
bans.
Jaina's she's kind of replaced Vala in that like I'm the big ranged.
Do we want to see a nerf on Jaina?
No.
No.
I think it's in a good spot.
Sylvanas is in a worse spot than Jaina right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we want to see a nerf for Sylvanas?
I think the
No.
trait remember the
I think they
solution.
should buff up all the other damages. I think all those damages, like, I don't know, they're interesting and they make play fun. Like
Yeah.
you never like. There are situations where like a Jaina flashes in and then just like
Flash.
insta-gib someone. Bolts
What
in.
is Flash? This
Sorry.
is Flash.
Arsenal, anytime he bolts in, he goes flashing, and I
Oh,
started
okay.
saying-
Dead
Alright.
player.
That's fair.
I'm not fans of Mark. He's banned from the show.
But you can at 20, you can just bolt in and delete them. It depends on if you consider that kind of stuff balanced, because it is harder to it's kind of hard to execute, but it can be punished as well.
It's hard to execute the positioning on it because
But she
you need to
leads
know,
to fun plays.
You need to know when to commit to that type of thing, right? And when you
Yeah.
can get away with it, or at least
Yeah.
make more of an impact than you dying is going to have.
So the other thing, Illidan, we've seen a lot of him in the past. Zeratul, we've seen a lot of in the past. I heard we saw Shadow Assault paired with Divine Shield.
We did. We
I
did.
heard,
Oh
Kev,
my
I heard Kev
God.
didn't realize till
Divine
level
Shield.
20.
Yo, all right. When level 10 hit, I was doing TeamSpeak stuff. So then I was just like, I looked back over and we were just like, it was about to be an engagement. And I was like, oh my God, an engagement. So let's talk about that. And, everybody was splitting up constantly. And I was like, okay, they must be afraid of the Void Prison. And Idra kept saying Void Prison. So I'm like, okay, so I didn't even look at the heroics. And then all of a sudden I look over at chat and I'm on a 5-minute delay. So 5 minutes later I see, it's not Void Prison, it's not Void Prison. And I'm like, oh,
Co-caster under the bus. Nice.
no, it's equal.
Good job,
it's equal
Idra.
parts my it's equal parts my fault as much as his, but neither of us noticed it.
Wow.
Like I pointed out the searing attacks, and I saw SA like a bunch, and I was like, I pointed out searing attacks. What do they want from me? And then I realized SA. Oh,
I actually didn't put that together. I was like,
Wait,
why?
he had Searing and Shadow, so it was full auto attack.
Yeah.
Full
Yeah,
auto
it's
attack.
It's a
Zeratul.
auto attack, but it was interesting. It was like eliminating somebody
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
But the only issue is that as soon as he eliminated somebody, he died too.
That was one of the wonky Wednesdays I did a while ago. Was auto attack Zeratul in one of the games. Literally, they just kill the opponent so quickly, and it's really cool. But
There's a lot of counters
Yeah.
to it. I was theory crafting with some of the other players that on some of the other teams, and they're just like, okay, shrink ray is kind of a big deal, or having
Yeah.
any kind of knockback that can just sort of disable him or like push him away. Anything that is sort of like buying up the time of his
I
shadow.
mean, that was
assault.
versus us, right? We took Shrink Ray versus it. And
Yep, shrink ray is it's a good one. You can, which can even be applied during Divine Shield,
yep,
which slows him down too. So it's like okay,
it's like, oh, look at the little Illidan trying to claw at my feet. Zeratul.
Zeratul. Yeah. But it was a cool, like, they had a lot of very close team fights. I'm trying to remember what the composition you guys were running against that.
remember the map? Because I have the drafts up.
It was
right here.
Dragonshire, I think.
Our comp was Uther, Sylvanas, Tassadar, no, that
No,
was
you couldn't have had
that was their comp.
Your
their
composition-
their comp was Uther, Sylv, Tas, Zeratul, etc. Ours was Jaina, Sylv, Tyrande, Rhaegar, Diablo.
So organized. I'm proud of you.
Uther,
Jared.
Uther, Vala, Tassadar, Zeratul, etc. Not
Yeah,
Sylvanas.
that was
on
the-
team, Vala.
We
Yeah,
had
yeah.
no, they didn't have
Yeah.
Vala.
Yeah, they did.
If it was the Dragonshire game, looking at it right here, Uther, Sylv, Tas, Zeratul, etc.
I'm looking at the exact draft.
Oh, maybe it was the wrong map.
Maybe it's not Dragonshire.
No, it's Dragonshire. It was definitely Dragonshire, and that's the draft right there. Because you just said Sylvanas twice.
Oh shit, we wrote it down.
Money in the bank. Money in the bank.
Right. They did have Vala. We wrote it down wrong.
Okay.
Snap, crackle, and pop.
That's
If you
the
want to check out the
silence.
drafting from Heroes from Titan Arena, just go to heroesdraft.com/Titan Arena 3. Bam, done. It's all the draft, all the games.
So esports.
So sports.
All
I
right.
like the
Any
graphics
other
too.
weird things? We've seen Tyrael being played a lot more by a lot of different teams.
Let me look at the list of heroes.
Anub, we saw that one game.
That's Anub.
It was cute.
I still say that was a bug in the draft.
What a guy.
Some Arthas.
Some Arthas. Stitches is
Marthas.
rip. Stitches is...
Actually, one real big thing we should be talking about, which has been starting to, like we saw some of it the previous week, but is the 3 and 4 Blood for Bloods to counter ETC diving in. That's something that is, like, that's not even something that's gimmicky between teams. Like, teams are really starting to draft
it definitely existed in the past, but it's definitely become more of a conscious decision, I think.
We saw a little bit of it sneaking in at the finals for Major League Season 1. Some of the comps ended up, I'm not sure if it was, actually, I want to say it was 2 Arc that started doing it, or they had at least 3 of them lining up, and now it's really becoming prevalent.
Maelstrom's been doing that for like 2 months now.
Have they? Okay. I didn't.
At least.
I don't
They've been
recall
doing
seeing
it a long
during any of
time.
their finals games. So.
Yep.
Maelstrom's
I
been
remember
drafted
taking
to
note of
Blood for
it,
Bloods for
when
maybe
they
my
hit
time frame's
Serial.
off, but
Because Tyrael's the only
Maelstrom's been
warrior
doing
that
it well.
has Blood for Blood, right? So I think that was probably why we took. Well, I guess Nubarak does as well. I think that was why we took note of it. Was because it's like, okay, the warrior has Blood for Blood. This means something too.
Yeah. Everybody. Well, they ran Tyrael, Anubarak, Vala, Tyrande, Uther that one, which is only 3 Blood for Bloods, but it was still a nice counter to ETC. But they didn't really win that game.
Rip.
But yeah, the 4 Blood for Bloods, man, it was hilarious watching, like, because then ETCs were like, all right, well, I'm going to stick.
Yeah, yeah. It makes you second guess that.
And how do I engage without going into the middle of the enemy team?
Yeah.
I can't. So then they were just posturing the whole time. Then they're like, all right, you know what? They're engaging on us. Now's the time for stage dive. Oh, they still had it.
Yeah.
Damn.
And it seemed kind of like some of the solutions were, especially if you have like ETC Illidan on the team. And I want to say there was one game where the combination of ETC Illidan and Sylvanas were there, and it really required heavy coordination of the team where Stage Dive, Metamorphosis, and Silence Arrow were all used at the same exact time to hit the same group of people, which, if that's the answer, it's kind of annoying because the defense is probably a lot easier to hit and requires higher play to play around it, which causes problems in itself, but it's cool to see that the level of play needs to be elevated
That's good.
to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could talk about that right now because I also want to talk about how I take a huge blame in us losing that series versus Maelstrom.
Tell us why you're so bad, Jared.
I was really sick that day, like delirious at one point, and for some reason I let my team draft Uther Tyrande first rotation, giving them Illidan, Jaina, Sylvanas, and
What?
the way they were initiating on our Uther was they would Sylvanas silence, initiate with, they had Illidan, Jaina, Sylvanas, Rhaegar, Mirrodin.
Oh.
They would all dive in on Uther,
Oh, no.
and Dread would die every time before he could done Mind Shield. And if I was paying attention or awake or something, there is no way I would have let that happen. That was the worst draft we've ever done. As players, they when you're not thinking, it's almost a form of tilting. Where they're like, these guys are consistently running like Uther Tyrande and stuff, these are their comfort picks. Guys, Maelstrom is just, they're comfortable with any hero. They're that good. You can't take away Uther Tyrande and then suddenly they're going to be crippled. And like halfway through the game, it was literally halfway through the game I realized, like, how did these comps happen? Like, I was legit that, like, out of it. And then I know I would not have let that happen. Would we have won the game? Can't guarantee it, but that game was a disgusting stomp because of that initiation they had. The Sylvanas Illidan initiation with the Mirrodin was just butt pummeling us. So
Butt pummeling.
Yeah, and if you pull out the Divine Shield right out of the equation, that's probably you're at least relying on that to make some moves.
That's your
I'm
butt
guessing you had Illidan on your
pummel
team?
deterrent.
They had Illidan.
They had Illidan. So what
They
was
had
the Divine Shield target for your team? Did you have one? Or
Whoever they were blowing up, Uther most of the time. We first picked Uther Tyrande, which, again,
What was
no
the rest of the
idea
comp?
why that happened. And then we went ETC Vala, and then last pick Zagara. We really like Zagara right now. We think teams write her off too much. KO has gotten freaking disgusting at spreading creep. The vision he gets from it is insane. He's gotten landed some sick maws lately.
Oh my god, his maws those games were disgusting. But yeah, not enough.
Oh, they did have Storm? Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense given
I was like
they
half
didn't really
asleep
have
through
a shield target, right? 'Cause
Okay.
nobody
Even
knows.
iDream knows the
ATC
game better than me.
maybe but not really worth
But
it.
we wanted to take away the Uther Taronda there, which was just
Tempo didn't ban ABBA. Tempo picked ABBA.
we
Oh,
run
picking
ABBA.
ABBA. Oh my god,
Yeah, we run
reading it
ABBA
wrong.
a decent amount.
Jared, I just
I
want to
think,
tell
and
you.
especially with that first game, like you guys ran Abathur, but I don't think the Abathur was the reason you guys lost.
Oh,
The reason you
absolutely
guys
not.
lost was
Absolutely
because
not.
you were just like, yeah, we don't have mana, but let's just engage 5v4 and
Yeah.
no mana to get out of there. That Garden of Terror game, oh my god, I cringed so hard when I saw them go in with Zeratul went in. Yeah, that was it. It was Soldier, right, on Zeratul?
Yeah, should have been Soldier on Zeratul and Arthlon on Abathur.
Yeah, it was. I saw that and I was like, he doesn't have mana. I don't think this is gonna work out so well. And I was 4 people down.
Yeah, no, we run Abathur not a lot. We run him in certain situations, and he feels good. I mean, he's not bad. The clone paired on certain heroes
Like
does
Odin.
like the 20%. It's like 5% or 20% extra damage or something like that. It's really good. Like on Jaina and Zeratul, like high AP burst heroes.
Yeah.
It's really good on. So Abathur is he's not a troll pick. You know, it's not like a high priority pick, but it's definitely something.
I'm the worst Abathur because I clone Zagaras and I just creep spread everywhere. I'm just like, gonna put down creep tumors. I just get so excited to spread that creep.
Yeah, and they split push is still insane, like Dunk just said. Like there are so many situations where it's like keep down, thanks Abathur.
Yeah.
Gotta go bottom and get that keep too. It's really obnoxious. The presence he has still. And it's not as bad as old school Abathur, of course, but
Right, well, that's a whole
Yeah.
different story. And just speaking about Abathur in general, the backdoor style Abathur with the Locust, they even said they're going to be changing that. Router replied to, I saw it on Reddit, so
really.
if you guys have been experiencing that backdoor style where they just kind of summon all the Locusts and leave to blow up your keep or core or whatever, going to be going away.
Thank
Yep.
God. I
We
never
didn't say
like.
how, but
They didn't say how. They didn't say how.
Oh, they buff him then, or like make him good still, because he's
Yeah.
very fun to play.
Yep. And I
like
like the
Abathur.
place he's in right now. Fall side also starting to see more play than previously. People starting to utilize that Hinterlands Blast, making huge plays with it. So, I mean, Maelstrom played them, am I correct? On Curse Hollow? Was it
yeah,
Maelstrom?
it was crazy.
I know they've been running him for a while. A lot of teams run Falstad now in the Tyrael Judgment blow up comps.
Yep.
Especially with Jaina. You look at Jaina and you say, we can eliminate her. Hinterlands Blast is great for it.
They didn't run Falstad in our sets.
Either way, cool to
Might have
see
been
new
another versus
heroes
2 arc, though.
rising up, starting to see more play. Once again, the meta is just constantly shifting, constantly diversifying itself. Cat has been summoned.
I'm trying to see if there's any other heroes that have been seeing a bit more play. Oh, Jared, do you want to speak to Nazebo a little bit? You guys were running that for a while.
Juan?
Changed your mind.
Yeah, his damage is like I think we
not-
talked about this on the actual episode Dunk was on, but his
Yeah,
his
We
damage,
did, but it's been a few
yeah,
weeks.
it's inconsequential damage. Like it's high numbers, but it's like numbers that don't really matter.
Okay.
Just like it's small tickle damage over time that adds up to a lot, but really doesn't get much done when you need it to. If fights were like 15 minutes long, then yeah, the Zebo would be great, but
Sure. Okay. Because you guys were the only team that was really running it for even a short period of time. So I
yeah.
was curious.
Because you look at the damage meters, it's like, wow, this feels amazing, but
Yeah.
then it's like, well,
Do you think if Gargantuan was controllable, would that help at all? Or do you think it's still not quite up to snuff?
I still think it's not as good. Like, there's just so many good damages right now that
Yeah.
I've seen Gargantuan do ridiculous things in like pubs. Like it just walks around and it just slays kids. Because they kind of ignore it. They don't think,
Yeah, it can if you can get it into the right spot, but it
that's
can
pubs.
be difficult
That's
to.
pubs, yeah.
can
I'm
be
not
difficult
trying to
Yeah.
no,
No, I
say
get
it's worth grabbing.
I just
Um,
ignore it.
So, all right. So we talked about esports a little bit. Titan
Congrats.
Arena 3. This is our officially going over into recap mode. Cat, no, stop. Maelstrom dethroning Tempo Storm. I think it's official. I think they are kings right now.
they've
Jared,
never
shaking
won a
his head.
Titan Arena.
As like the top team in NA is what
Oh
I'm
yeah,
saying.
they've had that.
They've been on
while.
that. They've been on that cusp, but to the point where we were giving Temple the benefit of the doubt because of how long of a run Tempo had. At least I was giving Temple that benefit of the doubt. I was like, they're still like just barely better, right? Just barely better. But after their wins and ESL Major League and now Titan Arena 3, they look way too good.
There's
Yo,
like-
I lost that bias a long time ago. I've been like the Cloud9 train. I'm on that choo-choo.
Yeah, you jump ship real quick each time.
Ouch.
It happens very often.
Yeah,
But
it's true. You know, I just happen to recognize a better team. That's all.
yeah, well,
Wow.
that's how you want to play. No, yeah, like they've had the better. Like the last time we beat them was Ding It, which was a month ago.
Yeah, it was a month ago.
They beat us twice in the ESL Major League,
Titan Arena 3.
Titan Arena 3. I don't think we played them in Titan Arena 2. I think we lost to Complexity then.
You guys are playing them next week, right?
No. We play Vortex this week and we
ESL?
play Wildfire next week.
Tempo Maelstrom's like week 7.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We don't
it's
play
like
Maelstrom.
week 7. Matt plans the best for last. He's like he wants that juicy games at the end.
I think you said it was random. I think it's
No,
random.
Well,
Outside of Vortex, we've only been
Yeah,
playing
you guys
bats.
are playing.
No, wait, we played Shot in the Bolts week too, and they've gotten really good lately.
They have. I've been talking about they're doing well.
They didn't perform too well in Titan Arena though.
Yeah, they got
They got,
mind
like,
game a bit in those drafts.
Yeah,
We scrimmed them a
that's
bit,
true.
and we kind
Dude,
of
you guys
messed
played some weird stuff during those drafts. Or they just drafted poorly. I don't remember. Yeah, those. Anyway, I still like
yeah,
shots.
we
in
didn't
the
do
Bolts.
anything weird. Yeah, they're good. They're one of the up and comers. I know we're going back into esports, Jake, but wait, I don't
Jared
even
wants
know.
his soapbox.
we're talking esports right now.
Okay, we are, dude. I'm still sick. Leave me alone. Complexity, dude.
Roster
What's going
changes.
on with them?
Roster changes.
I know they had 2 subs, but it's just so
Well,
shocking.
they
to
didn't
see
have
'cause
McIntyre though. That's the big deal.
Apparently, Urho's officially replaced
Urho's gone.
by Caterpillar.
Cattle's
Yeah.
replaced him. I gotta say, they looked really good with Cattle
They
yesterday.
looked pretty good yesterday.
Four level lead on any team is impressive. They were clean. They were playing confidently. They were just picking apart their opponents, and they had a massive. It was like two
Did they
13-minute
play?
games. Was it Shot in the Bullets, or is it
I
Taquitos?
just had this up. Grip.
If it's shot, that's impressive. 4-level lead on. Wait, I think we might have done that. We had a 2.
No, that was
Or it might have been
No,
Taquitos.
that's Ryzen. It was
It
Taquito.
was Taquitos.
Rising
yeah.
Taquitos.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, well.
Jared, I gotta say, you sound much more Texan when you're sick.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Sorry that happened. Okay. Any
Did you
other?
cast the games Complexity versus whoever they lost to, Kev?
No, I didn't. I have the replays though.
Beyond reason.
Beyond,
Beyond
reason. Yeah. That's like crazy to me because
Especially because Beyond Reason made it to the next round, and
we knew they had like 2 subs, but even like with 2 subs and like they were decent subs from what I heard, like the fact that they lost, so we were like, well, maybe we need to be a bit worried. And then when we went against Beyond Reason, at one of the games we had a 4-level lead,
I think you actually had
Or
a 5-level lead.
lead
You had a
at one point,
5-level
actually.
lead in the second game.
and like
It
how
was
did
it
they
was
beat
Garden of
Complexity?
Terror, and it was like a 11-minute game.
It's like how did they beat Complexity? Because Complexity was like for a period of time they're just like
You know,
up
that's
like gods. They were really good.
You look at
that's one of the things though, is that I think when when I watched the movie about All Work All Play, they were talking about you can have 5 of the best pros separately in a team for this type of game. But if you actually have 5 friends together that are just a little step below that person, each of those pros, you will beat that pro team like 90% of the time.
Yeah.
And you know they have 3 really good people, and they subbed 2 really good people as well. But just because you don't have that bond that was already developed because of the team, doesn't mean you're going to beat another team.
don't die,
It's
Jared.
just sorry, it's just crazy to me how sudden it's just like Complexity.
Yeah, you look at Titan Arena 2, they rolled that tournament.
Yeah, they did.
That was the first tournament they were under the brand, and they rolled it.
From 3-1 in the finals too. So.
Yeah. And not even that. ESL, they were doing really well throughout all of ESL as well, and everything else, right?
That's the other story, right? They went undefeated all through ESL. And then when
they
they got to
bodied in
ESL
the
playoffs,
finals.
they got last.
They got 4th place.
So something happened, right? When I saw that somebody disappeared from the roster, it was like, well, this was expected. They just got last place after being undefeated. There's tension somewhere, right? So, other team news: Goat Gaming disbanded, Backlash disbanded, Wildfire will be replacing Goat Gaming.
Oh wait, we've done that for a while, yeah.
Into the ESL Major League.
Yes.
So ESP Wildfire officially in ESL Major League for the first time. They were the runners-up. That's why they got the spot. And that means we have makeup games from week 1 and 2 for the matches that were played by GOAT.
Rip those teams.
Now, let's talk about GOAT Gaming very quickly. The
Kiefer's team, right?
No. Kiefer's just got a new squad locked in. They're brand new. Kiefer's just got a brand new team locked in last night.
This is Pythic, Space Drop, Fury. I'm
Who are we
blanking on.
Oh yeah, God, I always forget these.
Yeah,
There's
there's
a lot
been
of
a
good
lot
players.
of different teams.
No, that's Wild Growth anyway.
It's 2 weeks and they break up. Like, did they hate each other that much? Do you think this is going to be a recurring problem? Because it seems like it is. It seems like these team swaps are happening super frequently.
What a nice transition.
I'm
for
sorry.
Jared's rant point here.
Yeah, this is like perfect segue. Dude, all of our North American viewers and chat, all of us are North American fans. I'm on a North American team. I don't do anything on the EU server, but we suck. We are so bad compared to EU. It is disgusting. Our top 2-3 teams can compete with EU probably just as well as the rest of them. Probably take games off the best of them. Probably beat the best of them on some days. But EU is just so much better past that.
Yeah.
They have so many more teams. I looked at Stormcraft the other day. I don't know how update like with the Go4s they do and stuff, but out of the top 30 teams on Stormcraft, 7 of them were NA, and 1 of them was Wildfire. Since when has Wildfire done anything? Like,
Shots fired.
we have nobody in NA. Nothing at all. And it's just constant disbands and teams just collapsing and stuff. But when you look at EU, they get these 40-team Go For Hero signs up. And
40? They get way more than 40.
well, could they at the worst, I assume, they
Yeah,
get like 40.
that's a bad one. That's a bad Go for in Europe.
The Go For we played in Tempo Storm did, we got like 76 teams signed up for.
The Open League for ESL Europe is like 100+ teams. It's huge. It's actually massive. And they even go to the point where they try to separate it by region. So if you're like in Germany, you're going to be playing with neighboring countries. And it's crazy how far ahead they are. What do you think it takes for NA to step it up? Money? Sponsorships?
I don't know what it is really. Like it's confusing to me the difference because I don't know, like when you're like we're involved in like the high end competitive scene, so like we see it growing and like we're part of this the whole time, and we haven't been doing things wrong with the scene and stuff. We've been promoting, we've been casting it. Even at the start, we had more stuff going on in NA than EU. There was only an NA server at the start.
At the start.
Yet,
Yeah.
At this point, EU is just so much more dominant than the NA scene, and I don't know why that is. I actually can't figure out what the difference between the regions are that makes it such a big difference. Because literally, I can barely name like 10 teams in NA right now.
I told you when we did Ding It, trying to lock in 16 teams for a bracket was near impossible. Like, the number of replacements and like last minute like squads that we had to do.
We had so many buys.
And then we had 2 or 3 walkovers because teams just couldn't commit. It was just it's rough. So it is a recurring problem, and I just want to put a call to action. Like, if you're interested in helping the Heroes community, in building resources and stuff that could help stabilize it. We don't need events. We need like more community leaders that are willing to like start to organize data, start to help the outreach for competitive heroes. That's what we're lacking right now.
Well, it's the weird thing though, is that
But
Heroes of the Dorm, they put out, I mean, granted, it was a huge prize pool at the very, very end, but they got, what, 500 some teams or something
no,
like that,
they
that
had
initially?
800 teams,
800 teams.
But there's the incentive of if you sign up, you get beta access.
Yeah.
So
cool. So
you can't offer that for other events because it's not built through Blizzard.
Hey, wait a minute. They still got 64 teams to play at the very least in the bracket.
True.
Where are those teams?
True.
Where do they go?
True.
that's what I'm saying. I tried posting everywhere for Titan Arena 3. I was like, listen, you got knocked out of Heroes of the Dorm. You still could probably do pretty well in Titan Arena 3. Keep your squad going. Have a good time. Yeah, it's going to be great. I had 10 less teams this Titan Arena signed up than...
Yeah, there goes the month. I mean, I don't know.
And that's $2,500 for one day, even if you lose. Not even one day. It's like 6 hours.
Like, and I've heard this argument since StarCraft days. Like, EU is more socially and it's more accepted there, like esports life. But
Yeah, true. It is. That's a fact.
but does that really make it that big of a difference to where it's this lopsided?
I really
because
think
it's a huge deal. It's like it's a huge difference right now. It's huge.
I think
It's getting worse.
I think visibility. It's not getting worse, but I think visibility is a big part of it.
It might be getting worse.
It's getting worse.
Just for Titan Arena.
No, not just for Titan Arena. I mean, like, look at like all the ESL Open signups. They're going down.
Go
too.
for Heroes we played in the other day. I think there was 11 teams signed up,
Yeah.
and none of the. I mean,
This is
none of the big
also
teams were
during
signed up.
this is I mean during Heroes of the Dorm it's going to be a little bit lower because a lot of focus is on that.
At the very least, look at what happened at the end of ESL Major League in the relegations. How many teams dropped out of relegations?
True.
I mean, I would love to be optimistic about this type, but I think it is getting worse.
Huh.
The
That game.
amount of teams that are at least just staying together as a cohesive group over the course of more than a month.
Like,
It seems to be a rare breed now.
I mean, like I want the scene to be perfect. Like, everyone in the chat, all of these guys know that I love pooping all over EU, man. I'll take any shot I can get, but they've got us beat right now. They got us beat hard, and
Yeah.
It's hurting our meta too, I think. You know, like
Yeah, our meta's been,
Nick
like,
was
2
going
months
on
behind.
Nick was going on a tirade the other day about how EU is so far ahead, and I was like, no, that's just because meta differences between. And then I just kind of really, really looked at his points, and I really don't want to say
The interesting
Nick was
thing
right.
is a lot
but
of
he's right because we don't have teams that can like confidently scrim against each other all the time against people who are like of the same caliber.
yeah, like if you look at the let's just talk about us and Maelstrom and Vortex, like the 3 teams scrim each other all the time. We're also playing for like $1,200 almost every weekend against each other. So even if we're scrimming against each other, we can't show each other anything. But when you look at the teams in EU, you got like Team Liquid, who they don't even have to probably scrim the other top 5 teams in NA. They have like another 20 teams they can practice and try out new stuff against. Where if we want to try out new stuff, we gotta like play randoms that we get 6-level leads against, and we might as well go do Team League.
Yep.
There's like no
So
depth
true.
out of the top 5-6 teams in NA that
Yeah. And eventually, like you say right now, that the top teams in NA can compete with EU. That, unfortunately for NA fans, will start to slowly disappear because if you don't have
Right.
good competition to practice your strategies
Oh, yeah.
against, especially like you're saying, where you need to hide stuff, and it's like, okay, if we have to start playing against weaker teams and these guys don't want to play against each other, things are going to get worse and worse skill-wise.
if the skill ceiling is higher, everyone keeps pushing it and raising the bar.
Yeah.
If there's no competition driving it forward, they're not going to continue to get better and better. And if there's no reason to innovate harder, they're not going to do it. So
Innovate.
Innovate.
Innovate there, Jay.
Jesus Christ, I'm living in
mean-
Massachusetts for like 6 months and it's just starting to
Yeah, like-
invade.
Corey said, right now, Maelstrom, Tempo Storm, maybe Complexity, a few others. They could probably go to EU and beat like Team Liquid and stuff, and
Maybe
beat all the other
on
good
like a
teams.
good day, yeah.
But
But only those teams.
we don't know.
that's now.
We're hopeful they can do that, right? So I guess the next point is we have open beta less than a month out, and then we have launch in June. This does mean that Blizzard is going to start promoting the game. I personally feel that Americans are lazy at looking for things, and almost, I'm just saying as a whole, in terms of like going out of their way to find something that they don't know already exists. So a lot of people, I assume, are under the assumption that Competitive Heroes doesn't exist because the game's not out yet. The number of comments I've seen, especially when we were on the front page, when we got Heroes to the front page of Twitch for ESL finals, we had like 7,000 viewers, so it bumped the title as a front page game, which got a lot of eyes on, right? I can't imagine the thousands and thousands of people that saw the game competitively for the very first time because, hey, look, there it is. It's in my face. I'm going to click on that purple icon that I've never seen before here on the front page of Twitch and look at it. And that probably got a ton of eyes on, creating exposure for it. That's something we don't really get. And I think that's probably the biggest detriment to the American scene is because people don't look for it. If they don't know about it, they don't look for it, right? So,
that's nice if that's true.
But with the fact that the game's going to be going into open, and the fact that we're going to actually have launch, that very likely means that Blizzard might be more inclined to support competitive. So
okay, supporting competitive in general is good. That still does nothing to explain the difference between the two regions.
It doesn't, but it could help remedy the issue because the big difference is lack of players. And if the population is healthier and there's a larger community, there's more room for talent and there's more room for diversity. And America is now here, and that transition was just awful, Kevin.
That was the best transition, Jake. America is lazy. I don't think America is lazy.
It's not. I don't know if lazy is the right word, but I don't think the average player on NA is searching around for that stuff. Kubi, you're never gonna get to do Kubi's questions again. Like, I'm sorry.
I think. I think it's harder for the NA scene in order to get the people to get together, etc. And I think
why?
Because of distance. Distance is a huge issue. I mean, look at just Tempo Storm in general. I know before they were able to move into their house, they had to have like Dreadnought host games, or Dreadnought couldn't host games, or if somebody was hosting games, Dreadnought couldn't connect, something like that. I remember like people were having issues with giant like connections between coasts. It's like a huge internet issue over here, and I think it's a lot of its infrastructure as well as just the fact that we're just a massive, massive country, as opposed to all of Europe's countries kind of put together a little bit closer. I think there's also just, in EU, there's a lot more sponsorships going on. I mean,
Well, not really.
2Art Gaming, I think, could be getting a lot more sponsorships going. I think Shots in the Bullets, they just had Lunatic, but then they dropped, I don't know what the hell happened there. They had it, but then they lost it. I think there's a lot more sponsorships that could be going through America that aren't.
We have 4 teams in NA sponsored by major teams. I don't think there's too many
It's
more
not
than
bad.
that,
It's not
It's
bad.
like
I mean, what are we
8 or
missing in
9?
NA? We're missing like
Fanatics.
what? TSM, CLG. Is CLG American? Yeah, they are. What else are we missing?
EG.
Well, right now, they've shown interest.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah,
Maybe you're right.
EG's gone.
For now, I'm sure they'll come back. But
Yeah, I'm sure they'll come back, but I mean, Liquid had an American team. Now they've got an EU team. Navi, Fnatic. I mean, they've got tons of teams over there.
Liquid
LDLC.
is also based out of Europe, so is it surprising
Yeah,
that
that's what I mean. It's not surprising.
that they picked up an EU team? Like, it
But
shouldn't
even
be.
then, like, SMG only got picked up by Tempo Storm at the beginning of February. So that was like 8 months of playing
Right.
with no pay.
It's a
And like
grind.
people keep talking about like, well, there's no money in the scene. I can't compete.
Voice gets way better when he's sick.
Like, that's just the dumbest excuse ever. Play to win, man.
Play to win. Play to win. We're gonna end the show on that note.
Actually, hold on. I see a good point. Fish. I'm assuming I pronounced that correct. But you say the distance, but he's got a good point. Language barrier is also something that they have to deal with in EU.
Language barrier is a thing.
And
I'll agree there. I'm not going to argue with that, but, I can hardly understand Zoya. He's from the south. I'm from the north. See? Dude, we got to deal with. We got language barriers here. No, I agree. I
You don't
agree.
speak Slovakian?
There's language barriers as well. I don't know. I think it's a lot of different things. Probably a lot of culture. Maybe EU's just better at this kind of stuff than we are. But I don't believe that's entirely true. Well, yeah, even in League of Legends, isn't EU like slightly better than NA, except for TSM?
You look at Go4 numbers. If you go through the history, and Matt linked this to me a while back. If you look at the league Go4 numbers, Europe destroys NA, like by a large margin. It's culturally, for whatever reason, very different. I think PC culture as a whole has been much bigger there, and we have our Call of Duty kids, we have our Halo kids, we have our Smash kids, and that is far larger here than anywhere else in the world. So
Yeah, we've got our console generations.
we do. It's very much a
Who just
console
won the last
industry.
big Smash tournament?
This past weekend,
Yeah.
it was in fact a European.
Oh, wait a minute, Jake.
They have
What happened
two
to your
good players.
argument?
Two.
Dumpstered.
They're from Sweden. That doesn't even count.
Oh, yeah.
We've
that's
adopted
true.
them as America too.
Oh, okay, sure.
Sweden is now a part of America. You heard it here, world.
Nice.
Well,
Smooth
before you
take.
get pitchforked by all the European viewers, let us do our shoutouts. Starting with Zoloff, the
Yeah, you
sick
guys can-
Texan.
The sick Texan. You guys can. I don't know what the hell at Zoya TV is, but you can follow me at Tempo Zoya. on
Old
Twitter.
overlay. Old overlay.
I am the coach, manager, and content producer for Tempo Storm. We have 2 videos releasing this week.
We got sneak
Dread-
peek. What are they? What are they?
Glaurung and Soldier are breaking down one of the Titan Arena games.
Together?
and together, yeah.
Holding
We're
hands?
Together. I don't know if we're gonna hold hands.
Please.
But I'll suggest that they do that. And Arthalon is talking about. I don't know what kind of video he's doing. I wanted him to make something about
Here we go.
League of Legends and the comparisons between League, because he was a competitive League player. He was Challenger tier or something.
Yep.
Challenger tier something.
I don't know. I don't know. He was good or something.
I didn't play League,
That's
so.
what they tell me, right? Yeah. Okay.
But he was going to do a vlog about that. He might be doing a different video as well, so keep an eye out for those videos. They'll be posted on Reddit and stuff. I'll be moving to the house in a little over 2 weeks now.
Wow.
All 6 of us will be in the Tempo Storm team house. I will be releasing a vlog as well, going in detail about the role I have at Tempo Storm. And I think that is it. There's like no major. I don't know of any major tournaments coming up. Like it's just kind of
Here's the dorm.
major.
Yeah, Titan just happened. There's no Ding It coming up or anything. Ding It's.
We got nothing, man. Like it's
Yeah?
just it's ESL and like scrimming on the weekends now. So.
Well, Kings of the Storm will be returning.
Oh yeah,
Tell you that.
we are setting up a really cool event. It'll be Tempo Storm plus Cloud9 Vortex. It'll be like a 3 to 4 hour stream event. Don't want to go into too much details because it's going to be really hype when we do it.
Now
but
go into more detail.
there will be multiple players streaming, and there will also be a caster stream that'll be me and ZP casting it. And it's not going to be your ordinary like type of tournament. It's going to be really cool. There's going to be comms in it. Then there's going to be like challenge. It's going to be really cool. It's going to be like a really fun community event.
So
it's-
with Z and Z casting, that's gonna be a sleepy cast.
Sleepy cast?
I'm done.
Yo, if Z and Z are casting, then it's going to be the ZZ top tier casting.
Nope. Not doing shoutouts. See you guys later. Thanks for tuning in.
I've been rubbing off, or Kev's been rubbing off on me.
I was
Kev.
about to say, what are you?
Oh my God!
You trying to take my puns?
She
Good luck.
she's chasing Corey. She senses that he is distraught, and she went running to his aid. Kev, shoutouts.
Thanks everybody for tuning in for Titan Arena. It was awesome. Glad to see all the feedback and everything I got. And hype for release of Heroes of the Storm. Gonna be super excited for all the new people coming in during the open, during when it actually releases, and seeing what's coming out from that London event. That's what I'm curious about. They announced. That's what I want to see. Of course, you can follow me at Twitter, twitter.com/am2. Follow Tempo Zoya, because he's not Zoya_TV still.
Rip.
America rules. EU's better than us. That's all I got.
Wow. Contradictory. Cat has traded places.
Yes. Cat has traded places. Does that mean I get to do shoutouts real quick?
You do.
Awesome. All right. Tomorrow, Jake and I will be casting Thursday's matches for ESL Major League. I'm trying to recall which match dropped out. I don't know at the time, but we're only casting one series. Okay, yeah, it's Goat series, but I didn't know who they're playing. Oh, it's Goat versus Vortex. All right,
Dropped.
so we'll not be casting that, of course, tomorrow.
What?
What?
We play Vortex tomorrow, dork.
Oh. Well, then I lied to you.
Rip.
Goat versus someone.
Jake is supposed to be in charge.
Goat versus 2ARC.
Okay. All right, so then it's going to be Tempo versus
Vortex.
Vortex that we'll be casting tomorrow. And then I believe we're going to be playing some catch-up next week, Jake. We have
figured out when I get back from LA.
Yes, yeah, you got that thing to do, that little thing. But when you get back, perhaps we'll be casting a couple more nights during the week just to try to catch up on some of the matches that we missed, because we want to give all those teams good exposure. Plus, with Wildfire coming into the bracket as well, we have to replay those series as well. So
yep,
lots more content coming up, at least Major League wise. I think that's it. Other than please follow me at the Kubi.
All right, guys. Like you said, ESL tomorrow. If you are going to be at Heroes of the Dorm Finals live, find me. We'll hang out. I want to try to do a Heroes meetup with other people that are going to be involved from the community. Jester, CSD, a lot of us are going to be out there for the event. I, of course, will be behind the curtain, if you will, during the broadcast. But after the broadcast, the night before, we'll figure stuff out. Looking forward to that, and looking forward to lots of other stuff. Heroes of the Storm launches for open beta May 19th. The official launch for the game is June 2nd. So if you don't have access yet, keep your hope, because it's coming soon. Everyone will be able to play the game, so get ready, guys. That's going to do it for episode number 60. Huge shout out to Mr. Matt Shimbari for joining us for this episode.
Yes. And
until next week, we'll see you next time.
That's it for Town Hall, episode 60.
That was just a hoedown.